Hi, welcome back. I told you, I promised you we'd be back twice. Back again today. Thank you for joining me at Stand on Guard. It's a pleasure to be back again. Yeah, all the news we need to know. All the news. So thank you so much. And we'll be, why am I getting? Anyway, sorry, we had a little technical glitch there. It was X. We're having problems getting through X. We'll be right back with all the news you need to know. We need political change. But we also need to resolve to resist. Hey, thank you for watching again. Yes, I was just informed, and we're back on X. Weird things happen on this. I was a huge message that came across saying we can't get through on X. Do something about it now. Now we're on X, so that's why I was slightly off base there for a minute. Anyway, I hope you had a chance to watch my interview this morning with former UK Prime Minister Liz Truss. What a great interview that turned out to be. And that was only a couple of days in the making. I contacted her press secretary, I think on Friday, was informed she would be in Calgary this week, and we made it happen. And what a fantastic opportunity. That's all I can say. And I certainly hope to have her on again. Really didn't know until I did some research how involved she is in the anti-globalist work that she's doing. Didn't know either she had met Danielle Smith, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, who's the star of our show today. And yes, he keeps saying she's an old friend. She is, and I'm going to try to get her on the show. And I've made overtures in the past and things have not gone right or scheduling problems. I'm going to try again because, yes, I really want to hear what she has to say. So, Canada should appoint border czar to work collaboratively with the U.S. That's the news of today. This could eradicate the Trump tariff. Now, the responses here are interesting, to say the least, because I maintain that Justin Trudeau does not want Donald Trump to lift that tariff of 25%. That's slated to come into effect in less than 48 hours. February 1st. Tomorrow was the last day of January. And here we are, 5:30 plus Eastern time. I think it's a good possibility because he'll get it, but I don't want the tariff to go on. The U.S. says Canada can avoid tariff with border action. This is the guy. This is the Commerce Department designate secretary, Howard Lutnick. Now, Howard Lutnick says you don't have to have the tariff. We've known that, of course, from day one. Donald Trump has been saying, do something about your border security. It's a problem. And yeah, it is a problem. But I think what Danielle Smith has done, and she has been demonized. This really, really angers me. The mainstream media, so many people out there, including Justin Trudeau and the Ontario Premier, faux conservative Doug Ford, who is a big part of the problem. Yeah, Doug Ford is in Trudeau's pocket. I've been saying this every day, but Doug Ford has been demonizing Danielle Smith as being un-Canadian, not working for Canada, working for herself, Doug Ford's the one working for himself. That's why he called an early election. He thinks it can save his skin if he has an early election. That's the only reason he's doing this. And I have no time, no respect for Doug Ford. I don't think he even has the nerve to stand up and say, okay, I'm doing this for me. I'm not really a conservative. I'll do whatever I have to. I'll do whatever I have to say to get votes. And that's all Doug Ford has ever done. And I really have no time for Doug Ford. But let us delve into what the Commerce Secretary designate, Howard Lutnick, had to say about how we can avoid this tariff. And believe me, thank God Danielle Smith is out there talking to these people and actually getting some good suggestions.
With respect America. If we are your biggest trading partner, show us the respect. Shut your border and end fentanyl coming into this country. So it is not a tariff per se. It is an action of domestic policy. Shut your border and stop allowing fentanyl into our country, killing our people. So this is a separate tariff to create action from Mexico and action from Canada. And as far as I know, they are acting swiftly. And if they execute it, there will be no tariff. And if they don't, then there will be. But it's an action-oriented model. That's not the ordinary tariff. The ordinary tariffs need to be studied and examined. And that will start, as the EO said, in April. To our country, killing our people.
So before we get to Danielle Smith here, couldn't be clearer, could it, Howard? Stop the fentanyl. And of course, Donald Trump would elaborate and say, stop letting the terrorists get across the northern border into the United States. And there won't be any tariff. Now, I think this puts fear in the heart of Justin Trudeau, who is looking forward to a tariff war with Donald Trump, because he wants this to be about war with the U.S., not literal war, but a trade war with the U.S. And he wants this to be about an election that he knows he can't avoid now, and we'll get to that later. Good news about that, maybe. We probably will see a spring election. I'm still not convinced it's going to be with anybody but Justin Trudeau, but things are so incredibly changeable. Things are rapidly moving right now. It's difficult to know who's in charge and what's really going on. But like I say, thank God we've got Danielle Smith doing some footwork for us, legwork for us. And here she is.
On November 25th, President Trump publicly warned that he would impose tariffs on Canada unless we take action on critical border issues such as cracking down on fentanyl, other illegal drugs, and illegal immigration. And I've been clear from the beginning that we must take President Trump's statements on border security seriously and to take action immediately, rather than focusing on inflaming the issue with rhetoric around retaliation. Today, U.S. President Donald Trump's Commerce Secretary nominee, Howard Lutnick, stated during his confirmation hearing that, quote, "If we are your biggest trading partner, show us the respect, shut your border. This is a separate tariff to create action from Mexico and action from Canada. As far as I know, they are acting swiftly, and if they execute it, there will be no tariff. And if they don't, then there will be." Let me say it again. The one thing that we can do this week, in just the next couple of days, to have the best chance to avoid tariffs is to show clear and unequivocal action to secure the border. This should start with the appointment of a Canadian border czar to work with the new American border czar to jointly crack down hard on fentanyl and illegal migrants. Is this likely to end the threat of tariffs entirely? I don't think so. I think there'll be other things that we will need to work on, and we will do so. But I am convinced, after speaking with dozens of elected U.S. representatives, administration officials, and the president himself, that this is the most important first step. Today, I reiterated this to the premiers, Minister LeBlanc, Minister Wilkinson, and Prime Minister Trudeau, and I hope it is acted on by the end of this week before February.
What are your thoughts?
Okay, I'm just going to pause there for a second. I think the comment here from Adventures, the problem with Justin Trudeau appointing a border czar is Canada will end up with someone like Kamala Harris. Now, hey, I can't disagree with that. The problem we have, of course, is that Danielle Smith is the Premier of Alberta, not the Prime Minister of Canada, and neither is Pierre Poilievre the Prime Minister of Canada. He's still the official opposition leader. And there's nothing he's going to do to appoint a border czar. And do you really think Justin Trudeau is going to appoint a border czar? Personally, no, I don't think so. But this is the problem. Danielle Smith is proposing realistic solutions to this tariff problem. Justin Trudeau doesn't want realistic solutions. He does not want the problem solved. Because for him, the problem is something he can exploit for his own political ends. I've been saying this every day. Some people still refuse to believe any politician could be that amoral, can really be that full of himself. But he is. My friends, he is. A little more.
Thoughts about why it has taken this long for people to suddenly, as we see in one of the newspapers, send photos to Donald Trump of what's happening on the border. Why did it take this long? When most of the time we've been talking about retaliation, talking about now relief packages, talking about who's on Team Canada, who's not on Team Canada, who's a traitor or not a traitor. A lot of time was occupied with that, not as much on this. Now some.
Oh, I got to stop this. This is the best question I've heard from a reporter at a news conference in a long, long time. Exactly. Why are we pointing fingers back and forth about who's more on what the hell Team Canada is when it's really Team Trudeau? Why are we're going to get it? We're going to fight tooth and nail. We're going to fight dollar for dollar, tariff for tariff, when nobody has addressed the border security problem. And I've been saying this for weeks. Trudeau's border security problem is a farce. Border security solution is a farce. He's not fixing the border. He's spending $1.3 billion over 6 years. Not good enough. The provinces are doing better. And this is why Danielle Smith is saying, come on up and see what we're doing here in Alberta. And that's the only thing that's going to alleviate the tariff. Going on national television and saying, oh, we're going to fight back. We're going to get those Americans for what they've done to us. We're going to fight back dollar for dollar, tariff for tariff. That is not impressing Donald Trump at all. So don't think for a second that is going to solve this problem. What Danielle Smith is doing here is solving the problem.
Somebody in the States says this is the issue. What is your thoughts?
Well, I've always said that this is the issue. And I've always said that we should be focused on doing everything we can to avoid tariffs. And that's how I've conducted myself in all of my public statements and in all of my interactions with the U.S. administration. And now we see a pathway. It's been confirmed that the person who's going to be making the decisions on tariffs said in his hearings today that we can avoid them if we demonstrate serious effort to make sure that we don't have bad guys coming into the border, across the border into the United States. So I have told my counterparts we should always take that seriously. We should always act. That's why I was the first to announce a robust border plan, $29 million. Why we had already been we were able to deploy it so quickly because we had already been in the process of training. When we announced it, we'd already had 35 of those officers trained up in commercial vehicle inspection. And so we were able to move very quickly. Other provinces were too. I think you've seen in Manitoba that they deployed conservation officers. I think in Ontario and Quebec, they announced that they would have provincial officers. And I'm pleased that the federal government, they managed to commandeer some Black Hawk helicopters for the RCMP and have already started those patrols in Manitoba a couple of days ago and in Alberta today. So I think that there has been a sense of urgency. I think perhaps everybody's come to the realization that, especially what we've seen in the last week, is show me, don't tell me, and so now we're showing. I feel like there may be a time if the U.S. administration acts that we would have that second conversation, but we're not there yet. And it's incumbent upon political leaders to do everything we possibly can to avoid a tariff war. The Americans are 10 times our size. I think we have seen with the skirmish with Colombia that the president is serious when he says what he wants and he doesn't get it. He started with a 25% threat. It moved to a 50% tariff. And then when he got what he wanted, it turned to zero. So I think that that should be a bit of a guidepost to what it is that the president is looking for. If his senior trade person says, be serious about the border, let's be serious about the border. And then let's see if that manages to avoid tariffs. I don't want to talk about retaliation. I want to talk about making sure we don't have to have that discussion because we don't have tariffs at all.
All right. Don't you wish this woman was leading the country right now, because this is the only politician, well, Scott Moe besides, and generally Pierre Poilievre. The problem with Pierre Poilievre, he's absent without leave right now. He's not central to this equation. He's not inserting himself into this issue at all. I mean, there he is the other day talking about hate crimes. What the hell? This is the issue of the hour. We need to talk about solutions. He needs to be right 100% behind and beside Danielle Smith with this, because she's the only one doing any real work on this file. And the only one who realizes the solution is the border. It's been the solution from day one. It remains the only solution. And to talk about crazy anti-US moves, to talk about getting back is nonsense. Canada is not in a position to do that. I've been saying that. But Justin Trudeau, as I said, doesn't really want to hear this advice. But she's giving it anyway. And thank God for that. Because Canada needs to hear this.
Did Marco Rubio give you any definitive information to say whether tariffs are actually happening on Saturday?
So I think that we need to continue to engage. Like I said, Katie, and your colleagues asked me that question a bit indirectly. The ultimate decision maker is President Trump. So I'm staying until Friday here in Washington, making sure that I'm meeting as many people as possible. And we're working as a Team Canada approach, and we will have also other ministers coming also this week.
I'm sorry, but does this not sound like a staffer visiting Washington, D.C. for the first time? Wow, I met Marco Rubio today. I think I'll stay till Friday until I meet some more neat cabinet ministers. Totally out of her depth. Doesn't know what she's doing. Has no idea how to negotiate. I'd almost rather see Chrystia Freeland there doing this, because at least she had some sense of negotiation. As awful as she can be, Melanie Joly is not up to the task. She has no idea what's going on. She was asked a straightforward question about what did Marco Rubio tell you today? Is the tariff going through? I don't really know how to answer that question. And she looks completely out of it here. But she always does. But this is the person negotiating for Canada right now. And once again, unlike Danielle Smith, she doesn't get it. She doesn't get it. Did you hear her talk about border security? Did you hear her say, hey, I think that's not a bad idea that Alberta Premier Danielle Smith brought up about a border czar? That might work. That might be something that Donald Trump would respect, because after all, that's what this is all about, isn't it? Border security. Melanie Joly either doesn't understand that, doesn't know that, or has been told, don't talk about it. Because the Trudeau Liberals keep saying, well, we spent $1.3 billion. What's the problem? Yeah, they haven't spent it. They haven't spent a dime yet, because that fall economic statement was never voted on. So they have not spent a dime, and they only plan to spend that $1.3 billion over 6 years.
In these uncertain times, I'm asking the people of Ontario for their trust. I'm asking the people for a strong, stable, 4-year mandate to do whatever it takes to protect Ontario. The people of our province, like people across Canada, are facing unprecedented challenge. President Trump is threatening steep and sweeping tariffs that will devastate Canada's economy on February 1st. And I mean it when I say devastate. Hundreds of thousands of Ontario jobs are at risk, and not just factory workers, service workers, the great construction workers here, retail workers, everyday hard-working people in offices and factories across Ontario. When workers lose their jobs, entire communities feel pain. Bills go unpaid, local businesses lose customers, families worry about their future. And let's be clear, this isn't just about tariffs. The president has threatened economic force. He's even floated the unthinkable, taking over Canadian territory. Let me say this loud and clear, Canada is not for sale.
Doug Ford is for sale. Let me say this loud and clear, Doug. You are in this to save your political skin. You want a trade war with Donald Trump because it makes you look like a big man. Nothing else does, because you're never on the right side of history. You're never on the conservative side. You're always on Justin Trudeau's side. And like Justin Trudeau, you want a trade war because you think it's going to help you win your little election, which you called early because you know you're going to lose if you keep staying in power and watch events unfold. So Doug Ford has become a bad joke of Canadian politics. And sorry.
Service workers, the great construction workers here, retail workers, everyday hard-working people in offices and factories across Ontario. When workers lose their jobs, entire communities feel pain. Bills go unpaid, local businesses lose customers, families worry about their future. And let's be clear, this isn't just about tariffs. The president has threatened economic force. He's even floated the unthinkable, taking over Canadian territory. Let me say this loud and clear, Canada is not for sale. Not to President Trump, not to anyone. The sad fact is, there is no reason for President Trump to be doing this. Canada and the United States are strongest when we work together.
Obviously, Dougie doesn't get it either. Yes, there is a reason, and he can't articulate that reason either. It's the border security issue, Doug. You still don't get that, do you? And you think you can, by all this bluster and your boisterous conduct and your brave words, you're going to get your way. Because it's all about winning this election for you now. It's not about Canada. It's not even about Ontario. It's about Doug Ford winning re-election early because he thinks he has to do it now. And that's all this is about. And by the way, please like this station. I should have said this at the but this is a bad time slot for me. Bad, very bad. So please like the station. Share this with your friends and family. I don't do 2 shows a day very often, but I'm trying to move towards the 2 show a day format. And tell me if this time format works for you, because I'm not seeing a large audience right now. But tell me if this works for you in your comments. If you think I should be doing it early afternoon or later at night. I try to avoid, the show I'm sometimes on, Redacted, which is, from 4 to 5:30. So that's my thinking here. So I'll toss that out. But please like the show, subscribe. We want to hit that 40,000 as soon as possible. But what is Justin Trudeau's response to all this? Whoa, spoke with the premiers today. Every part of our country would be impacted by the potential U.S. tariff. It's one tariff, by the way, Justin. Everybody keeps talking about tariff plural. No, it's 25% tariff on everything. We all know the stakes here. We're all working around the clock to prevent. Yeah, I bet you're working around the clock. And we're all ready to issue a strong national response if we need to. What the hell does that mean? You're going to issue a strong national response. Well, that's going to do a lot of good, Justin. And by the way, I love this. Here's a photo op with our Melanie Jolie with her ruby slippers. Yes, and Marco Rubio. I wonder if she thinks if she taps them together, she can get out of there real quick, like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. But Can't miss the shoes. It's Justin with his socks and it's Melanie with her shoes. But I'm not sure Marco was all that impressed with Melanie today. But she certainly did not do much of a job. And once again, Danielle Smith is the only one with the right idea. I would say any border czar would do, as long as it's let's make it Rick Hillier. Let's make it a former chief of defense staff. That would be a great idea. Let's do that. I mean, it's not beyond the hope. But here's what I want to talk about as well. It looks like Jagmeet Singh is doing another flip-flop. Now he is prepared. Bang! Singh says he will bring down government in March. He wants to pass the Trump tariff relief first. Well, that's another good reason why we don't want the Trump tariff, so we don't have to go through the inflationary spending of the Trump tariff relief bill, or to have Jagmeet Singh tap dance around that one for a couple of weeks, saying, well, I'm just going to vote in favor of the tariff relief bill, then I'll bring down the government. Now, let's just bring down the government at the first available opportunity, have an election, stop looking at these fake polls, have the Liberals almost getting closer and closer to the Conservatives. Stop. Let's have the election. But Jagmeet is talking now like he will agree to have a spring election. So that's good news. And here he is. Opposition calls for Parliament to resume as Trump says he's moving forward along with the tariffs. But if you read the fine print here, he says he's prepared as well to bring down the government as soon as he gets his Trump tariff relief bill through. But I think Jagmeet has come to the point as well as saying he better go now because the Liberals could be taking more NDP support away. So I think Jagmeet's very vulnerable to do the right thing for a change and to bring down the government. This could all work out. This could all work out despite the best attempts of Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party and the globalists to put Mark Carney in control or to keep Justin Trudeau in power, to keep the Liberals governing Canada for another year and a half, which potentially could happen. But I think we're going to see an election, finally, because everything is aligning for that. And thank God that Danielle Smith did something instead of just wringing her hands and saying, well, what are we going to do? Except stop buying American playing cards and Jack Daniels. What else can we do? She has identified, or no, not identified. She has agreed on what the problem is and said, let's move forward and fix it. So I think we might have a happy ending here after all. Even though Justin Trudeau wants a tariff war, even though Justin Trudeau wants an election against Donald Trump, he might not get his way because there is a God in heaven. There is justice, and it's not going to happen. Hope you had a chance to watch my interview this morning with Liz Truss. I've collected a couple of clips here that I think were some of the best moments of that. If you haven't looked at it, watch the interview with the former Prime Minister of Great Britain, Liz Truss. She is on our side.
The battle is going to be a long, tough battle because the left have been very successful at infiltrating institutions. And the same is true of the international institutions, Davos and the World Economic Forum, the United Nations, the IMF. All of these bodies now subscribe to the same worldview. And it's a new version of socialism. That's what this is. Net zero, transgender extremism, Islamism. All of these things involve taking power away from individuals and families and businesses and instead giving the power to supranational institutions. And that is what people in the West are now rebelling against. And rightly so, because if we carried on down that path, we would be seeing the end of our civilization. We have a massive battle on our hands. The battle has been moved forward by Donald Trump in America, but we have to win in Canada. We have to win in Britain. We have to win in continental Europe. We have to win in Australia to turn the tide back to common sense conservative values. And it is a huge battle, and we need all the players on the pitch.
Yes, and I think
we have a massive battle on our hands.
Yes, okay. I want to make sure you saw that, because this is we're walking through history right now. I can't emphasize this enough. Things are happening very quickly right now. We could either win our freedom or lose it in the next couple of days. I believe if we can satisfy the demands for a safer, more secure border, even if we don't really have it, if we can convince Donald Trump that there's enough people in Canada like Danielle Smith, like Pierre Poilievre, like Maxime Bernier, people who really care about border security, and that Justin Trudeau's on his way out. Justin Trudeau's not the future, he's the past. People like Danielle Smith are the future. That's what we need to tell Donald Trump. It might not be perfect right now, but it's going to get there. We don't need the tariff, because your tariff is helping Justin Trudeau win re-election, or the Liberal Party win election. You're helping Justin Trudeau with all of that bluster. It's helping the Liberal Party reorchestrate itself, reorganize itself around an anti-American platform. It's helping the Liberal Party run against Donald Trump and the United States, and not Pierre Poilievre and the Conservative Party of Canada. That's what all of this is leading to. So we might have a happy ending. Trump drops the tariff, says, okay, Canada, you're getting serious about your border security. I think you're going to have a border czar sooner or later. I'm satisfied. Tariff drops. Justin Trudeau panics. What am I going to do? That's the only thing I had going for me, was a trade war with the United States. Suddenly, it doesn't matter if it's Justin Trudeau, Mark Carney, or Chrystia Freeland, or Karina Gould, or Donald Duck. The Liberal Party's history. The Liberal Party is gone. The Liberal Party will be eviscerated in the next election, and it will become history as well. And we will have a new government, a new prime minister, and we will have a new vision for this country that's based on free enterprise, non-regulation of your lives and your businesses, a government that stays out of the family and your personal life, and the ability again to bring home enough money to support yourself and your family, with streets that aren't littered with addicts using government-supplied drugs. Imagine, it could be a Canada like we all remember. And that could happen. But these are very, very dangerous times. But they're also very potentially wonderful times. We have to seize the moment, keep fighting right now. I encourage Danielle Smith to keep doing what she's doing. I encourage Pierre Poilievre to get out there and support what Danielle Smith is doing. Talk about the border czar. Get out there and say, yeah, that's a great idea. I approve of that too. When I'm prime minister, we're going to have a border czar. Pierre Poilievre needs to say that today. Doug Ford, get the hell out of the picture. You're not contributing to anything except your own re-election. And that's all you're in it for. Justin Trudeau, your history. Mark Carney, your history. You were a lousy governor of the Bank of England. As Liz Truss told me this morning, all you knew how to do was print money. And that's all you'll do as Prime Minister of Canada. God forbid that you should ever have that office, and you won't, because Canadians are going to say no. I've said enough for one day. I'll be back again 10 o'clock tomorrow morning with more of the news you need to know. Let's continue to resolve to resist. Bye for now.